Hi, I'm Kate, and today I'm watching episode 1 of The Haunting of Hill House. I'm not sure what to expect from myself going into this. I don't know how I will react because I'm just not big on the horror genre. It's something I'm trying to get more into. I was traumatized as a child. I walked in and my dad and brothers watching a movie called Terry's T-Rex, and I just saw a scene that traumatized me. And I was like, you know what? I don't think scary movies are for me. But I have seen a handful. I've seen The Ring, Darkness Falls, Paranormal Activity, Stephen King. Stephen King isn't really horror to me, but I've watched his stuff. I'm realizing, horror is such a big, there's so many subgenres, and that's something I'm interested in exploring because I think I'm good with ghost and haunted house stories. And I am learning that I can actually read horror. I found some authors that really work for me. Right now, my favorite author is Stephen Graham Jones. But it's the spooky season. I want to watch something spooky. I'm typically a book reader first person. I know this is based on Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House, but since I'm sure there's going to be jump scares and spooky moments, I don't want to read the book and ruin them for myself. I want to fully experience them. I don't want to anticipate and know that they're coming. So this is one of those rare occurrences where I did not read the book first. Let's start the episode.
No live organism can continue to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within. Whatever walked there, walked alone.
So I'm assuming those were the opening lines of the book. It always starts with the kids first, doesn't it? So the episode's called Steven Sees a Ghost. Is this Steven?
Should I wake up Mom and Dad?
I've got it.
Okay, Nellie. Why are you awake, Luke?
Because Nellie's awake.
What was it?
The Benckert lady.
Oh, her again?
So they don't believe her?
Your big brother must have scared her away. Big brothers are good like that. You remember what we talked about before? About our dreams?
They can spill.
I mean, that's a good way of explaining it to kids.
Now, I know that bent neck lady is really scary, but that's all she is. She's just a little spill.
How long do we have to live here, Daddy?
Your mother and I, we have to finish fixing this house, and then someone has to buy it.
Then we can go.
Yep, and then we can go. Just like the last house.
What year does this take place? Because we got house flipping, but no night lights for the kids.
Dancing in the red room.
Oh, that's pretty creepy.
You're dreaming, Cheryl.
The pandas aren't dreaming.
No good.
So I had the Green Lady and the Window Peeper growing up. Did you guys have regional spooky stories? She went back to bed pretty quickly. We're lingering on the hallway. Oh, slow pan. Got me already.
Everyone alive.
Nellie had a nightmare, and Shirley's sleep talking again.
Oh god, the door's open. Got jump scared by a guy laying down in bed, so my whole body is very tense. Behind you. Oh, that didn't scare me as much as I thought it would. Okay. I literally got more scared of a guy laying down in bed than the actual ghost behind the child. See, I would love to live in a house like this. As much as I'm afraid of scary movies, I am not a person that fears for ghosts in real life. I think I'm one of those people that's a dead zone because
Carl
nothing
was
ever
driving
happens
on
around
Royal
me.
86 during the storm. He was up in the boons when he lost control of the car. Car flipped over and you couldn't see it from the road, especially because of the rain. He was hanging there the whole time, and that's how he died. Upside down, pressing on that horn for as long as he could stand to.
So, when did it start?
The night after he died. It started with drops of water. I started to hear a car horn. And then I looked up at the ceiling, and there he was, hanging there. You just stared at like you're an idiot.
Sleep paralysis.
And that was the last time I've slept in that room.
It's a very interesting story, Mrs. Walker. I'd like to look around your house. I'd like to set up some equipment. I'd also like to sleep in that room tonight. I can't promise I'll include your story in my book.
Oh, of course.
But it's possible.
I thought that was a psychologist or psychiatrist at first. that she was speaking with, but I like the little surprise that he's actually a paranormal investigator. I've actually done ghost hunting, never saw anything. Oh, so she's a scary book reader, so she might just have an active imagination.
I'm sorry, I should have told you I'm a fan. That's my favorite, the first one. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone at Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. I can't imagine what it was like living there.
Oh, so she just wanted to get her famous favorite author to come over.
In fairness, it wasn't famous when we moved in. Got me beat.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you actually saw your husband hanging upside down over your bed, you've seen more than I ever have. I've never seen a ghost.
The way you write, I just assumed...
Other people's stories. People like you, Irene. I give them the right voice, that's all.
I hope tonight is a game changer for you. You were one of his favorite writers, so maybe that's the reason.
Maybe.
You know, I can tell you one thing about Hill House that isn't in the book. All those years trying to understand what happened in that house, you know what I never found? A reason. So don't expect one.
How are your brother and sisters doing? I wondered since the book. Your dad.
I'd rather sleep here in case she comes back.
Just tonight, then.
I'll stay with her a bit.
That shadow was creepy. Was it just hers? Because, I don't know, it just moved a little creepy. Is it the broken neck woman?
I'm sorry. Are you saying you'd prefer not to do a viewing?
Wow, she looks a lot like the mom.
We want to. It's not that.
It's Max.
Sorry, excuse me.
They're really spread across the country, California and Massachusetts.
Hi, Max. I'm Shirley. I know this might be a little weird for you, but I promise it's all normal. It's important to say goodbye to Grandma, to see her one last time and tell her you love her.
I don't need to say goodbye. Grammy keeps sitting on my bed at night.
I was about to say, is he still seeing her?
She just stares at me.
It's Nell. I need you to call me. It's hard to understand. Everything's so twisted and it's hard to explain, but I'm worried about Luke. Talk to him. Call me.
So did this only affect Nell, growing up in this house?
Hi, this is Nell. Please leave a message.
Hey, I think you really nailed it.
Trying to fix the flu. The house doesn't like it, I guess. But Mr. Dudley found something for you.
I don't know if this is gonna work, young lady, and I'm gonna need it back.
Skeleton key? To have a library in a haunted house. Like I've stayed in haunted houses, haunted inns in Salem, Massachusetts. Nothing's ever happened. I've gone. My uncles live in a haunted house. Everybody else has seen something but me.
Dudley says this is a masterpiece.
All my friends grew up in colonial or Victorian houses where I grew up. They saw things I never did. I want to believe.
What do you think is in there?
It's a red door. All the other doors looked brown.
Something was moving. I saw the shadow under the door.
Well, this door's been locked for years and years and years and years.
We've got a realist.
This one doesn't work either.
The keys never work. Can't he just use that big hammer?
Let's go see if Daddy has any more keys.
We need more keys! It's an emergency!
Yep, I was about to say, it looks like 2 feet.
Yes, but literally everything is an emergency with Nell.
I know, but she sounded rough.
I can't deal with this right now. I'm working.
Fine, I'll just handle it, shall I?
That's why everybody dumps their shit on me, isn't it, Steve?
'Cause I'm the oldest. It's my job.
Oh, wait. That's you.
As the older sister, I can attest to that.
So, does this stuff capture the supernatural?
There's natural phenomena that we understand, and then there's natural phenomena that we don't. I prefer preternatural, natural phenomena that we don't quite understand yet.
So I'm wondering, did it affect Nell and Luke living in this house, living in Hill House? It affected maybe the 2 younger ones the most, and that's kind of, they seem to be living not transient, but Nell seemed to be in a motel. Luke, they just mentioned, was in rehab, so it must have affected them. And maybe this older brother, maybe he's trying to search for answers for what happened to his siblings.
I talked to Shirley. I know you're worried about Luke, but I called his rehab center, and he's fine. He actually got his 90-day chip today. I hope you're well, Nellie.
What's your story? I mean, who are you? What do? Live in a funeral home? What's that about?
I'm just kind of a germaphobe.
It's a little creepy.
I have to work tomorrow, early.
Goodbye.
Oh.
So does Theodora live in the funeral home? Yeah.
Hi.
New friend? Is she coming back?
No. She's sweet enough, but pile of issues.
Said the girl with rubber gloves on.
Nell called me today. She sounded bad.
Yeah, because it sucks to be Nell.
Did she call you?
No, of course not. What's wrong with her?
I don't know.
And you never really will. One foot in crazy and the other on a banana peel.
She said it was about Luke.
Luke will show up when he needs money.
Yeah, we are really going all over the country. Is this a human or a ghost? Just a dream.
Nell?
Daddy, do you remember the Benckert lady?
Yeah, he does. That must have been who was just in his dream.
Yes.
She's back.
He knows.
Okay. Where are you?
I'm at home.
Steve's closest, so you go to him. Okay, now I'll see you there tomorrow.
I love you, Daddy.
She's at the house. Oh no. Lights are on, but it looks all boarded up. I'm literally gonna get scared the most from the non-ghost stuff.
I'm going.
Who's he talking to?
Get up.
If my parent ever did that to me, I would freak out. It's a ghost. It can't go through walls. Is there something about the doors in this house?
We're gonna run.
Dad, what's going on?
Quiet.
I'm gonna carry you. You keep your eyes closed no matter what you hear. You don't open them.
We're standing with our back to the door too long.
Eyes closed.
What about the other kids? Nope, Steven saw a ghost.
She was in the window!
So Steven's a liar too, because he did see a ghost.
What's happening? Where's Mom? I thought I saw her upstairs.
That's not Mom.
Yeah, where is Mom? We didn't see her in the future either.
Dad! We can't leave Mom! Dad! Dad!
Dad, I told you. There's no reason you and I need to talk. You don't just get to call me and tell me what to do.
You're closest and your sister needs you.
He wants to see it. Maybe he doesn't believe what he really saw when they were going down the hallway. Is that Nell? It looks like the dress that the ghost was wearing when it was skipping down the hall.
Nellie's in the red room.
Oh, there's Luke. Well, I'll be damned. Just a leak in the roof? Yeah, it's raining. It's just a leak. So she wasn't completely fabricating.
Used to be a stop sign there until recently, yes?
I think so.
You're probably just noticing the car horns now because you're not sleeping as well. Things she used to sleep through. The water? There's a leak in your roof.
So he's the character that always looks for an explanation.
And the man I saw hanging from my ceiling?
The mind, it is a powerful thing, ma'am. Especially the grieving mind.
I know what I saw.
When I said I've never seen a ghost, it's not exactly true. I've seen a lot of ghosts, just not the way you think. A ghost can be a lot of things, but in my experience, most times they're just what we want to see.
That's how he's explained it to himself.
Thank you for doing that. Carl would have loved it.
The fuck, Steve?
You didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it.
What's going on?
My brother just raped the family is what's going on.
I sent you guys the manuscript in case you had any objections. I didn't have to do that.
Of course we object. I object. Nell, Luke, Theo, they were just kids. The things they told you in
I'm
confidence.
clear that they were kids.
You make Mom sound fucking crazy.
Oh, Mom wasn't crazy?
And the Dudleys and Dad?
He said it was haunted. Those are his words.
A wreck.
Does he talk to you, Cheryl? Did he tell you what happened that night? Because all I've got are those tabloid quotes. He refuses to tell us anything else.
When he said those things, he believed them.
I need to start a real life for my own family.
We're your family, Steve. What you're doing to Mom?
Mom was mentally ill. It's a fact. I'll be damned if the apple didn't fall too far from...
Wow.
Wow, yeah. Exploiting your family so you can make money because you can't come to terms with what you saw.
Buy the novel, Cheryl.
You sent me the book.
And why should she buy
Now
it?
you
She
know
already
what
read
I
it
think.
and she lived it.
You publish this, you know what it costs.
I'll write your story. It's a good story. I'll need to take some liberties. I always do. I promise to be respectful.
You really didn't see anything.
They didn't see anything. That's not the point. My kids don't take the stand, Ross. I've been clear about that.
I had my eyes closed when we left.
It's just tabloids. It's family court. This type of stuff doesn't help in a custody hearing.
So the lady with the broken neck was the ghost, and that's what happened to the mom? And now is that what's going to happen to Nell?
No one goes near the house. Then sell it. You need the money, Hugh. You're saying you want to keep the house your wife just died in?
He doesn't want this to happen to anybody else.
I want the gates and the doors kept locked at all times, and I want to know every day that it's empty. No staff, except for the Dudleys. Dudleys stay on, and it sits there and rots.
I'm sorry you had to hear that.
If you lose, do we really have to go live with Aunt Janet?
Hello?
Something up with Nell. She may show up at the house today.
At my house?
My dad told her to. I didn't get a chance to tell him what's... But I'm sorry, you can just point it at me.
So he really doesn't like accepting any truths.
Hello, young man.
Dad says you and Mr. Dudley come with the house.
Houses like this one require a staff.
Why don't you live here?
The staff hasn't lived on the grounds since 1948.
So the people that lived here before us.
The Hills?
So they were all alone?
Yes.
The Dudley's supposed to be like the Warrens, where they,
Well, they didn't seem
can,
to be
like,
too
control
scared. My dad found a bunch of
or
stuff
keep
in
in
the
check
parlor.
the
Tarot
supernatural
cards
activity.
and Ouija boards and all that.
And you know what those things do, don't you?
They're parlor games.
The world is dark, young man, and the only light is the light of the Lord Jesus Christ. Do you know the Gospels, young man?
He does. See, we knew that throughout his life he'd be exposed to all sorts of ideas and beliefs, that there'd be all sorts of people who'd tell him they had the answers. He's also familiar with the Talmud, and he reads a lot of Carl Sagan, Shakespeare. Why is that, honey?
Because there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio.
Than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Very good, ma'am.
So he's got a little bit of mommy issues
Mom's looking
because
for you.
she seems like somebody that's really grounded in science and
I don't want to go in
non-supernatural
I don't like
things. So
inside.
maybe losing her, he's still like holding on by trying not to believe in stuff.
How do you spell no girls allowed?
N-O. Who's this?
Some girl I saw by the woods.
So is that Luke going to talk to the girl in the
I
woods?
used to have imaginary friends too. Where do you get the ideas for these drawings?
This isn't what it looks like.
Is he stealing stuff to sell?
Yeah. Tell you what, I've got... Let me see. $200 here. You hand me that iPad. I need the iPad. Yeah. It stays here.
Still being an older brother, though, and providing.
I know it really isn't what you think.
Good.
That's how I got in without a key.
I needed a good scare. Did you tell Luke where I live? Did you bring him here? You just stood there and watched him loop me?
How'd she get out of the house? Is she even there for real?
Dad? He's,
Nell was lying.
Shocking.
She wasn't in L.A. She was at the house. She's dead. She's dead.
Kind of look like the drawing that Luke made. Did Luke see her when he was up there? Steve.
Steve, you there?
So that was The Haunting of Hill House, episode 1. That was fantastic. I really like how they structured it. I didn't feel lost at all with the timelines. They all seemed to make a lot of sense, and it seems like we've established the characters that we're going to be following throughout this story. So we have siblings, a family that were in this house that they were trying to fix up to sell. They were flippers, and something happened to the mother in that house. I feel like, as with all ghost stories, it starts with the youngest kids. Nell and Luke seem to be the most affected by the paranormal activity, by the energy in this house. But then, as we can see, I'm sure we're going to get more of this in like the flashbacks, but somebody maybe opened that door. They found paranormal objects like Ouija boards and whatnot. So they must have unleashed something, woken something up, or given it more energy to the point where it wasn't just spooking them in the night. Something happened to their mother. The kids kept talking about the broken neck lady, and then their mother ended up the broken neck lady. Now to the kids that we met, the siblings and the father. Starting with the youngest, Nell, she seemed to be seeing the most or experiencing the most activity, and now we know that she succumbed to it. She was never able to shake it. She is back in the house. I don't know if the house is like gaining energy again. Did something happen to the Dudleys that they couldn't keep it in check, and now it is reaching out to the last family that lived there? Maybe it got roots, like planted seeds within those kids that they have taken with them and were never able to fully get rid of. Also, the kids seem to be spread out around the country and not really there for each other. They all seem kind of isolated and dealing with this traumatic early childhood experience on their own, which not dealing with something and not discussing something and not trying to address what happened to you just makes it grow and fester and become worse. So maybe that's how it's able to call them back. Then we see Luke, the next youngest child, who also saw some sort of paranormal activity. He saw the girl in the woods, and he is now an addict, and that also probably stems from the early childhood trauma. Theodora seems to not want to be emotionally invested with anyone. She seems to be of the belief that the more people you care about, the more people you lose. So she's probably not trying to make any emotional attachments with her romantic partners. And I found it interesting that she put the gloves on after the intimacy, not before, when she was claiming to be a germaphobe. Then we had the oldest sister, who I do apologize, I'll get all their names, I just forgot the oldest sister's name, but she now runs a funeral home, and she's talking to children. She seemed really great with that young boy, talking about his grief. So she seems to be of the mind that, death is something that happens, and we need to face it, and we need to say our final goodbyes. And I wonder if that's, stemming back from the fact that she never, her mother's life came to a traumatic end, and she never got that closure, and she never got to say goodbye. Then we have the oldest, Stephen, who seems to be handling everything by trying to explain it away. The episode's called Stephen Saw a Ghost. He saw the woman in the hallway. He saw her looking out the window just like the other kids did. But what he did instead was he took their trauma and took their stories and took what happened to them, turned it into a successful book, and now spends all of his time trying to explain away supernatural activity. I said it was mommy issues, but his mom seemed to be somebody that was rooted in reality and really didn't want her kids getting too deep into any religion. It seemed like, I think that's smart to expose kids to all religions and all religious texts and to just make them more worldly, but she also seems like somebody that wants them to be more rooted in reality. And as the opening lines of the show said, if humans know the whole of reality, they'll go crazy. They need dreams. So Stephen seems to be more of the mind that the mind makes things up and gives you what you want to see, and that's not the real reality. He seems to really not want to believe what he saw as a child. And now he's also explaining away to other people, like the woman who said she saw her husband on the ceiling. Yes, he was able to explain all of that away, but he seems to get pleasure out of doing that, but maybe not so much pleasure because he seems to be chasing, trying to see a ghost again. He's trying to get some sort of closure, not sure what kind, but they're all trying to get answers. I feel like they're all not finished with this house, as we can see, and now it seems like they're all headed back there. So that was episode 1. I thought that was really great. It wasn't too spooky. The biggest jump scare I had was when the dad laid down in the bed. I'm sure that's not the most exciting for you reaction wise to see, but I'm sure they've got more in store and definitely more jump scares. So with that, I will see you in episode 2.